Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the Listen to This Bull podcast with Matthew Mulholland, featuring Remington Huggins and Sarah Parker. Take it away, Matt. Well, that was fun.
Awesome. That was awesome.
I
wish I had the late night DJ voice.
Oh, yeah. My mother worked for the CBC, so I've had some training. Yeah.
She actually started training you on that stuff, huh?
When I was very little, spent a lot of time in TV stations, radio things, all that good stuff. So,
well, that's pretty cool. That explains nothing.
I'm a woman of mystery, international woman of mystery.
There you go.
Questions, leave in the comments. Bam, there's that. Sorry about the late start, everyone. All of my guests that usually watch this. The computer I do this on sometimes decides to do updates. And I hate it when that happens. It's one of those Microsoft deals. We've got Sarah Mary Parker.
Hi.
Sarah Parker, if you don't know any better, is probably the smartest woman I know.
Thank you.
Smartest woman Matt knows.
That's a lot. I hope I live up to that claim.
You have to live up to that. Somehow that's going to be very, very difficult. No, probably not. Hey, I was just talking to him. I told him you were going to be on here. Then you should check out who you are. Here he is. Awesome. He's probably gone already, but hey, thanks, Matt. Now he's not gone. If you guys, why do you have to qualify it with a gender? All right, that's a good point. That was very sexist of me.
I didn't even catch that.
I know, me either.
You can't say anything without getting in trouble, Matt.
I know.
If somebody called me the smartest guy they ever met, I would take that as a compliment for sure. You know,
I would. Yeah. I mean, no one's ever going to say that to you, Remington.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So, I would take it.
Matt is no longer watching this show. He's not subscribed anymore because I'm
canceled.
Matthew is done with you.
For everyone that is aware. All right, this is the Listen to This Bull show. The point of this show is to answer any questions you have regarding bullshit involved in insurance claims. If you have a question, you have to put it into the comments or we won't know that you're asking a question. You could yell at the screen all you want. It's not going to work. Not even a little. You can ask us anything you want. We've got a guest on, Sarah Parker, who could probably answer any question at all ever. She's got Google in front of her, so she could pretend that she knows it too. Who knows? But if you don't put a comment in the question, we can't answer it. The point of this is to make sure that everybody's getting something out of this. We have a topic today. It's called Sarah Parker's Brain. That's our actual topic for the day.
Wow.
That is the non-topic that we've never had. So we're probably going to have a little fun. Are you drinking anything tonight, Sarah?
Coffee.
I have a green screened Tank 7 Saison. These are actually really good.
Matt, you need to start ranking these 1 to 10 at the end, and start getting some sponsors coming in.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I mean, you do it every time. You're like, hey, I'm drinking this today. And then at the end, you're like, I wouldn't recommend it.
As far as Saisons go, well, I could probably get rid of the green screen effect to make this work, though, because this is not going to be good marketing for anybody.
No. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I'd have to get anyway. At the end of it, I'll turn off my green screen filter, and then I'll make a beer commercial out of this.
There you go.
Sarah, I've been told that I should be doing that anyway. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
Well,
what's going on? What's your story?
I don't know. Not very interesting.
Yeah. Well, she opened up with a late night, DJ voice. So interesting.
No.
Thing is not true.
Well, I'm located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it is freezing here. So hopefully it is warmer where you guys are. Oh, yes, of course. So my name is Sarah Parker. I am a licensed public insurance adjuster in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am the president and founder of Parker Public Adjusting, and I love insurance for some reason. I don't know. It's a little bit odd.
Some of us actually geek out about insurance policies and things. You seem to be one of those individuals. Sometimes, like today, we have a public adjuster class running, and some of my students are still here. But today we were talking about animal damage, and there was a raccoon loss that we're using as an example. And we were discussing whether or not a raccoon itself could be a falling object. Yeah, why not, right?
That's interesting. I wish I knew that question earlier.
Yeah.
I actually was talking with Bill Wilson earlier today, of the author of, what is it, When Words Collide. I would have loved to have asked him that.
That would be something interesting to go through.
That's crazy. I'm going to send it to him anyway to see what he says.
We had to look up the definition of object to really come up with the idea that something that's living probably isn't an object.
Which dictionary did you use?
That was on Webster. Yeah, it wasn't Black's. I don't have access to Black's dictionary. Not a lawyer.
There's a free version that can get you by pretty well on the internet. It's a 2012 version.
What do you love about insurance, Sarah?
Oh, man. Probably the puzzle.
A late night show. Like,
I actually did cover this question today with Bill when I spoke with him earlier. It was supposed to be like a 15-minute call turned into like 45-minute video meet. So obviously Bill is excited about insurance as well. But basically, it's the puzzle of it, the puzzle of coverage, and the language for me. I love linguistics and typography and all kinds of things. Language, I speak a few different languages. So within that puzzle,
like what?
It's a
like
puzzle
English,
of words.
Canadian? Something like
that. So there's two official languages in Canada, Matt. Which one?
Yeah. Well, there's English and Canadian.
Yep. So we have Canadian English,
maybe French,
and then we also have French Canadian as well. Quebecois is definitely different than other types of French, just as much as Canadian English is different from American English. So yeah, we've got that. I know some swear words in Finnish, and I also speak German and a little bit of Spanish as well. I understand a lot more than I can speak in Spanish for sure. So, but English is definitely what I'm most well versed in.
How many languages do you speak, Remington?
I stay in my lane, man. You know, I do.
It's good for your brain, though.
I've learned it works, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
Learning languages is proven to be good for your brain, even if you just pop out that Duolingo. Like,
I am capable of ordering a burrito.
Yeah, I envy Sarah because I wish I did know Spanish. I mean, that would be the other language I would love to, actually have a conversation with somebody about. I've been to Colombia and some other countries in South America, and I was picking it up pretty well. But if you don't keep it up, it's like golf. It just goes away. So I need to find time in my day to say, you know what? And I know it's all an excuse, but I truly do just need to put 20 minutes away to the side and learn. So I need to do that for myself.
Absolutely. And immersion helps a lot. Immersion really does help. So, and then if you don't have anyone to speak it with, you probably will lose it. But yeah. So, but yeah, the puzzle of insurance essentially is what's fun about it. It's an ever-changing puzzle as well, because even, as you know, policies with the same carrier can be completely different. So it's really just playing mind puzzles. It's a lot of fun. And the people are fantastic. I love working with the adjusters that I do that work with the insurance company and the insurance company vendors. It's honestly a blast. It's been a wonderful experience.
Said no one ever in Georgia, but okay.
I know. I agree. You meet a lot of different people, and there is a ton of ego in this world. I don't care if you're a contractor, a public adjuster, or an attorney. It's great to kind of meet those people that know what they're talking about and they're down to earth. Those are like the two elements of people in this industry that I like to talk to. For sure. Let me ask you a question. I know this is probably because I get asked this too and I go blank, but think about it. You don't have to answer it now, but like, what is the most interesting type of claim that you've adjusted? That you know, when you first took step into the insurance world, you didn't think maybe that this was going to be in your future, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I would say either fire losses, total fire losses, or historic structures.
Historic structures is where it hit the key right there.
Yeah, I love history as well. I have a lot of interests, as everyone does, aside from insurance. And just the historical aspect of it is absolutely fascinating. And especially the building methods that we don't get to use anymore. You know, when you see like what do they call it? Like the dragon's tooth, shake siding type of thing. And some of the ways that they used to do things for the decorative elements. It's quite fascinating because you have to look up how did they do this. Granted, some of those structures are not at true replacement cost value. They're going to be, the functional, but fascinating either way.
Right.
A functional replacement cost value came up in class a couple days ago. It's an interesting concept to say that something can be replaced with something that is functionally equivalent, which is what you have to get into when you're dealing with a lot of historic type stuff. And they care more about aesthetics more often than anything else. Does it look like it's old? Or does it look like it's built the same way? But you might be able to get into one of those situations where business income is tied to it being exactly that way. It might be one of those homes that they do reenactments or something along those lines out of.
Right.
That might be a really interesting claim to get involved in. In North Carolina, they have that. There's this whole town. For whatever reason, I keep thinking Blair Witch Trials. That is not it. Salem. In Winston-Salem, North Carolina, they have this old Salem town, and it's really cool. When I was growing up in North Carolina, we did a lot of field trips over there. It would be crazy to deal with like a tornado loss in a community like that because all of those buildings and everything are built the way that they would have been built back in those days. And I think that would be really interesting. How do you think that coverage would apply to that?
You have to see the policy. I know that's a terrible answer, but it's true.
That's a great answer. I use it all the time.
It's the truth, though. Especially for the gentleman's question that was there just a moment ago. That's part of it, but yeah, it's not an answer people like to hear. But
Kalishi.
Do insurance companies cover forklift for a 2-story, 40-foot high metal roof?
If forklift is the cause of loss?
I'm assuming that they mean
if the roof has to be replaced. Right. That's what I would assume too.
Yeah. So again, you have to check the policy language, but generally,
I can't wait. One day I'm going to file a claim. Cause of loss is going to be forklift. And that's going to be one hell of a claim.
Better be an all perils policy then.
It would be covered as long as that forklift isn't owned by the insured, because then it's a vehicle not owned by the insured causing damage, right?
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But generally, unless it's excluded, if you've got something that's required, there's a few different reasons why something might be required like this. You can have workmanlike repairs. Workmanlike repair doctrine is something that I encourage everyone to get familiar with. Each state has a wealth of case law and statutes and things like that for your state. It's all very different, and that's separate from first-party property insurance case law and statute. However, they're quite well intertwined, especially considering general contractors and subcontractors will have insurance as well. So yeah, you've got your workmanlike repair doctrine or workmanlike repair standards. You're also going to have access to repair something that can be, something that warrants a forklift, and then OSHA compliance as well. So, yeah.
There you go.
Also, 3 reasons. There could be more, but
if part of the roof, this 2-story, 40-foot high metal roof, is that they have a giant fork, they're going to have to lift it somehow. And I think a forklift would be used for that. It only makes sense. My wife told everybody that I took Latin in high school. I don't remember any of it, so it doesn't even matter.
That's on my list. It's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. That's on my list for sure. Hey, Mandy, how's it going? I know it's warmer where you are.
All right, Bart.
Hey, all my people are here. Hi, guys.
Not
Hi, Bart.
I know Bart. He asked, Sarah, what are you seeing as far as new themes insurance companies are using to combat covering claims? What are they trying to change as far as lobbying? Good question.
That is a very interesting question. So I'll take the first part first. Bart brings up a very good point. For those of you that are not familiar, perhaps newer to the first party property insurance industry or the restoration industry, things change. That's why now, Matt, this is going to go back to our conversation the other day with my analogy of teaching people to be a chef rather than giving them the recipe. It is very, very important. I'm going to just have an aside here quickly, to learn how to think and how to figure out problems, how to use critical thinking rather than learning a specific process, because everything changes all the time. It really does. So that's a really good point that Bart's question brings up in the first place. There will be new themes. It changes. There are all kinds of things that I could cover. They're state specific. They are carrier specific. They can be weather specific. They can be tax season specific. You might notice during the end of the year, in between, after at least in my state and some of the Midwestern ones, you might notice that a lot of claims are not getting approved. But then right about November, December, they've done their budget. They've seen how many claims they've paid. They look at their reinsurance, what they purchased. They take a look at how much they have left of the chunk of money they set aside to pay claims. And they go, we still have some in reserve. Let's make sure we spend this before the fiscal season ends. And then you'll just get random calls of approvals that you just thought would never go through.
That's one of those December goodies that happens. If you've got a tough claim, wait till December.
Absolutely.
The adjuster wants to wrap that shit up anyway.
Yes, they want to get it off their desk, for sure. And then trying to change as far as lobbying. So I do encourage anyone who has even the slightest interest to consider either donating or volunteering with some sort of policyholder advocacy group or a professional group of some sort. One, because you should be giving back. And two, because there really is a lot of lobbying going on and things like that. There's also, when you get into case law, that can set precedent. Not every suit can set precedent. It has to be at, this is according to my attorney, it has to be at a certain level where it's like, now it could apply to the whole state, that kind of thing. So within some of the larger cases, like we have one in Minnesota right now, it is St. Matthews v. State Farm. And this one's going to be quite interesting because it's actually going against one of the statutes that we have specific to building code coverage with policies. So I'm excited to see how this turns out. But essentially, a lot of these policyholder groups and a lot of the insurer groups as well can write amicus curiae or amicus briefs. It's a friend of the court letter, an opinion of sorts that you write, and it helps guide the decision makers, the finders of fact, to come to decisions. So I encourage everyone to, just help out if you can, even $20. If 100 people gave $20, that can make a bit of an impact,
What organizations do you belong to?
Information is hard to get. So I'm a member of the American Policyholder Association. I am a volunteer with United Policyholders, and I love them so much. They just do wonderful work. And then I'm also a member of the board of directors of NAPIA. And then I work with everybody. if you need help, call me. I'm like the industry matchmaker behind the scenes. Like, I just got someone in North Carolina hooked up with like a Texas umpire the other day. So I've got the network. Just call me if you need somebody. We'll get you all connected.
Call her if you
Love
need
it.
somebody.
I love
in the middle of the night.
No. No, I stop work at 4:30.
Okay. Hey. What's up, Vincent?
I'll be right back. I'm going to come with an issue for Sarah here in a second. I'll be right back.
Hey, Jessica. Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate that.
I think Remington's going to pee right now.
Real quick, while Remington is stepping out for a bit. Support each other, please, everyone. There's been a lot of people tearing each other down. We need to be supportive of each other. You know, if there's someone's doing something good, you know, publicize that. Help each other out. Learn as much as you can. Even, you know, helping and supporting and being kind to insurance company adjusters. I mean, it's just it's been a crazy few years in general with, you know, all of the world events, and then just all of the back-to-back disasters have been crazy. So be gentle with each other, be kind, support each other. Just my PSA.
Gentle is the right word. I like tact. I mean, you're going to have arguments, right? But you don't have to be angry at each other while you do it.
It's not personal. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're doing a job, and they've got a job to do. What are you working on these days?
Me?
Yeah. No.
Oh, a million things. A million things. Anything specific. I mean, anyone in my network knows you'll get emails from me at like midnight, like, you guys. Always working on something. I don't know what I would bring up. Monday. I'm finally, this has been a passion project that quite a few professionals helped me out with. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Absolutely. Speak softly and carry facts that can't be denied. So one thing that's really come to my attention in our industry as a whole is something called compassion fatigue.
There you go. I was hoping we get into this.
It is a heavy subject, heavy subject. I'm finally posting the article on Monday. Finally, it's just turned into such a big project, really from the heart. A lot of people in our industry have helped out with it. You'll see some of them in the article as well. And when we're dealing with insurance claims, we're dealing with a massive amount of trauma and loss. And there's something called vicarious trauma, which is where you have a policyholder that is emotionally feeling things, even in a hail claim. I'm not just talking about fire losses, wildfires, hurricanes, situations where they're catastrophic losses. Even a hail loss.
It's their number one investment. So I agree with you, even if it's a hail. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're passionate about it. I know you jumped in because I know you've, attorneys feel it. You have your clients calling you. Is anything moving? Is anything happening? And you're like, it's a lawsuit. I can't, it's going to go slow. You jumped in because you feel it. I know you do. We all do. When I've brought this up to people, they just, a light turns on, and it's been quite therapeutic for all of us that have been involved in this. And I really hope that it sparks something new. There's going to be solutions in the article as well, not just, telling you all, hey, you're all screwed up. But there will be, management techniques and things like that and support in the article as well. And it's really something that needs to be addressed. Attorneys already have some resources for this, which I will link in the article. But for adjusters, even for contractors, anyone involved in this space, we all hear the story. So-and-so burned out. They only lasted a year, that kind of thing. And, we can avoid that. We really can, while providing great service to our clients.
When is this dropping, Sarah? Because I definitely want to take a look at this.
Monday. And it's going to be on our blog. It'll be ppaclaim.com/blog. We have the Claim Pulse blog. And I had to start a blog because any of you that have read my Facebook comments know that I need a writing outlet of some sort because my Facebook comments are like this long.
They
So
are.
all of my thoughts go to the blog. But yeah, it will be posted on Monday. Help you guys read. And you can also sign up as a member. So if you have any words of encouragement for your colleagues, any tips, any comments, or even just a thank you, I would appreciate a share, or just log in and drop a comment. So compassion fatigue is real. Andy knows. And so, yeah, this is really going to turn into something very big, I think, as far as the wellness piece. So
let me ask you this. We're talking about compassion fatigue, and you probably be taking this from the stance of possibly a public adjuster, but what kind of emotional trauma occurs to an adjuster that has to say no to people?
Yeah, I covered a lot of back research with also carrier personnel, including agents, independent adjusters, staff adjusters, because a lot of them do speak to me off the record. As you can tell, I have a very pleasant demeanor, and I'm very firm about facts of a loss. But my hope is that, and it seems to be that no adjuster ever feels like it's personal. So they feel comfortable oftentimes when we're on an adjustment looking at, some siding or something to open up to me. And they are stressed out. They really, it's really challenging for them. They don't have the support at their work as far as just just regular employee wellness and support. They have the crisis support that every corporate entity does, but nothing before that. And I think public adjusting firms are also the same. So it really does take a toll on their psyche when they're seeing a disconnect between what the policy might afford, or exceptions that have been granted to other policyholders, but then these ones aren't. Like the Iowa Jurette show. Caden Tinklenberg of Swift Public Adjusters, told me a story of, there was a woman she didn't have walls in part of her home, and it's just her carrier decided that she wasn't eligible for ALE because there's at least like 1 or 2 walls left. So I'm like, wow. Yeah, I would hate to be the adjuster that has to deliver that information. So
I wonder if that house still identified as a house.
I don't know. We'll never know.
John Clue says, realize that I can't continue to go at the rate.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I was going. I would be better to educate myself so I can calmly communicate.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. We are in dispute resolution. And that in itself is an art to detach from the personal aspect of it, to not only being able to intelligently communicate your position, but to also really listen to the other person.
I love it, Sarah. Something like that needs to be dropped in our industry, because it's I'll go through the 3 categories again: contractors, public adjusters, and attorneys. Everybody needs it. Like NFL players have a resource for something like that. What I'm trying to say is that every industry needs something like that. So I'm glad you're dropping that. I really look forward to seeing it and sharing it with others, because this information needs to get out there. So,
and I'm assuming it's going to be the start of something beautiful. I'm even thinking like, virtual drop-in meetings and, all kinds of things, little webinar retreats and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely a thing, especially anyone who handles fire losses. I'm going to give everybody a trigger warning right now. Right now. Trigger warning.
Here it is.
I'm going to raise my hand. It's starting now. I'll raise my hand again when it's over. The death that you see in fire losses can be devastating. Absolutely devastating. If you handle fire losses regularly, you will expect to generally see at least one of the family's pets' outlines in the carpet from when they passed from asphyxiation. The dog or the cat. When you're going through the home, or it's usually a home, for the ones that I handle. And, you see the kids were sleeping right there. It could have handled that. I do have one that's coming up. I can't speak on it yet until it's settled. And then I would have to have permission from my clients to say so, but it's really tragic with human loss. So those type of things. And some adjusters even adjust crime scene losses. And I'm going to spare you guys from that. So there is a lot to that vicarious trauma, that compassion fatigue. And imagine a public adjuster only sees a small fraction of those claims, yet there are adjusters that handle that every day. That's their job. And I hope and I pray that they are getting the support that they need to properly handle that. So trigger warning over. So it's a heavy topic now, but yeah.
But no, you're exactly right. And like when I asked that question earlier about what was the most, I guess, interesting shouldn't be the term, but just surprising, I guess, claim. And mine was a crime scene, and it was just something I never thought I didn't imagine that being part of my business or doing something like that when I started off with roof claims. So no, you're exactly right. You hit it on the head.
That's pretty interesting stuff. But and the support is quite important with other professionals, and then also just kind of getting out of work, not being in it all the time. I'm very guilty of that. Yeah.
People get burnt out in this job pretty easily, even if it's not after a major event or something catastrophic like that happens. Just being told no over and over and over again definitely has an effect on your psyche.
Especially when you know it's wrong.
Before, and a good friend of mine in Remington's recently have been to the point where she was not. You couldn't get a hold of her. She was just to the point where she couldn't function, and things started building up, and you get complaints and stuff on their behalf, and it's. At some point, she pulled herself out of it, and I've been there. It's one of those things that it happens. You can get fatigued, and it might not necessarily be from an emotional standpoint. Just same process over and over again, without quite enough sleep, without quite enough family time, whatever it might be.
Running out the door with coffee and shoving McDonald's down your face because you're in between, getting on roofs. Yeah, no, totally.
Quality
Michael. It will be ppaclaim.com/blog. You can subscribe now. I dropped it in the chat. I don't know if that's able to be posted, but yeah.
We'll certainly get it posted.
Yeah.
Matt has control of that, but we all know he has some technical difficulties here or there. So when we do get out of this, which is a conversation that needs to happen, when we do get out of this conversation, I do want to bring up a historical loss situation to Sarah's attention to see how she hits it head on.
We'll see.
That's what we got back here. So, but when we get out of this, this conversation, because it's needed. It definitely is. And I can't wait. I'm seriously on Monday. I'm gonna.
I can tell you were excited. See, when I brought this up to people, the people that were involved in the article, and just a few people I mentioned it to, everybody had the same reaction as you, Remington, because it's like you don't really realize it, and then when someone says it, you're like, oh yeah, let's take care of this. And so I know everyone's got something to offer as far as solutions, which is why I really encourage people to comment. And it really builds that community too, which is a cure for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
770 Arbor says, yeah, I need to get out of work more while I eat my dinner as I watch this webcast.
Yeah, put the phone down, chew your food, be mindful, be thankful for what you're eating. Yes.
I think it'd be a good idea is, after you, I say drop, because when you introduced us today, it was a late night DJ. So I'm gonna say when you drop the article on Monday, I think at some point, like a month or two afterwards, I think you should hop back on and let's talk about it and see the feedback that you got. I think that's a good idea.
I love it. I already feel like this is like, a bunch of friends just chilling on the couch, just having a good conversation. It feels very homey. glad you guys are here.
Kumbaya, that's what we're doing.
Right. Somebody's baking a cake or something. Hank says 800 mile day yesterday for a 3-hour reinspection on a claim from 2020 where we all agreed on everything to the slap in the face of denial to the policyholder today. It never ceases to amaze me.
Put these stories in the comments on that article. Put them in there. I mean, this is real. It's absolutely real.
You ever gotten, what's the most ridiculous denial you've ever gotten?
I mean, I get a lot of ridiculous ones as far as facts, but I think as far as detriment to the policyholder's mental and emotional well-being, I had it was denied prior to me being involved. It was partial denial, not full denial, but it was an elderly woman. She was in her 80s, and she was, you know what? The IA actually called me and tipped me off because he was like, "You have to help this woman." He's like, "You cannot tell anyone that I referred you. You cannot, or we'll lose my jobs." The IA called me. He's like, "I literally found you. I just saw you on Facebook, and I got in touch with her, and she's a single mother and had 2 mortgages and had worked her whole life just for that home. And it was about an hour and a half south of the Twin Cities, so it was quite a drive. And when I showed up, she first showed me the storage pod in her driveway where all of her belongings were rotting in, because it was a water loss, were rotting in zip-tied plastic bags. Her whole life, right there in her garage or her driveway, just rotting away. All of her child's things, they're adult, of course, and grown up, but just sitting there. And the insurance company had ignored her for almost 6 months at that point. And then as soon as I sent in my letter of representation, oh, we're live. And, the claim got moving, and we were able to handle her contents and get those valued properly and things like that, get some payments, get some restoration going. But I think, there's some gamemanship with all of the claims denials and things. But when it really gets to that emotional and mental detriment to the policyholder, that's when it kind of gets to you the most, because I expect shenanigans at this point, but not always, but yeah.
Right.
Not surprised when it happens.
Nope. Not either. You got to have a thick skin to deal with this. I mean, you really do in this industry. There's no doubt. Matt, I can tell. I know. I've known Matt for a long time, and his wheels are just spinning over there.
Matt and I have talked about this too.
Okay. Maybe I can tell.
He's been thinking about it for like 2 months. Yeah.
Every time we talk about this, there's so many claims that come to mind that you just get angry.
It's tough. And that's the thing too, is a lot of us have thick skin. But at the same time, when it comes to vicarious trauma, the thick skin only works for so long, and we still are human, and it will get to you, just like when you have a very common occurrence of this is like first responders, firefighters, law enforcement, EMT, that kind of thing. They're tough people, and they deal with crisis and the ugliest side of humanity every day. And they do very well for a long time, but eventually that vicarious trauma builds up and it turns into, compassion fatigue. And then eventually it can turn into burnout and then into post-traumatic stress disorder. So there isn't a question of if, it is a question of when and how much. So it's the mitigation piece and the recovery piece that has to be addressed. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
You're not superhuman.
One thing that I've learned, and because I like to put things in perspective in life. For instance, when I get a file from a public adjuster and it's a complete fire loss, and these people have been out of their house for 2 years, and they know they're about to sign up with an attorney, and who knows how long it's about to go. And now we're 3 years down the road, and I'm talking to them, and they're like, "Hey, look, things happen in life, and I've adapted. I'm staying here with my cousin or here with my mom and dad, and you keep on doing what you need to do. Like I'm going to stick this out." And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I don't know. It's just that's powerful to me. Like I just feel like industry it gives there's pieces where you just get these little, these stories, and it lifts you up. And then, the complete grind and fighting kind of brings you down. It's a give some, take some. It really is, because it's like, damn, well, I'm about to go home to my house, and
you're so thankful for it.
Yeah. Right.
You're like enjoying turning on the water.
Yeah. Yeah. It's inspiring to see how people can adapt to different things and everything else when they're really in the gutter. And that's when you find out who you are a lot of times, I don't know.
Always.
I was just throwing it out there because it's a give and take.
Absolutely. Definitely. And that is very true. You really, every person kind of figures out who they are when the going gets tough. Absolutely.
There's so many people that end up giving up throughout that process, though, too. I mean, on the flip side, there's
so many
people that they just want to turn the page and move on with their lives, and regardless of whether or not they end up getting the coverage that they paid for, whether or not there's breach of contract or any kind of shenanigans, bullshit that happens from one day to the next, and they cave, and that's the whole point. And then it's bean counters at these carriers. They know that a certain percentage of people are going to do that.
See, when Sarah said it earlier that you have to have the right case to make case law, I cannot stand behind that more, because you got to have the right client. You got to have that person that wants to stick it out. That's just one element of it. And you brought it up about people caving, and that's why I brought that up. Piggybacking off of what Sarah said. It's
so much easier. They're doing the same thing. The carriers are looking for the right case. It's a lot easier for them to find the right case than it is for us to find the right case.
And think about how challenging this is on everyone. Attorneys, it's you see certain facts and you've learned the law and things like that. Yet when it comes to case law, a good friend of mine that's an attorney here in Minnesota explained it to me very well. He's like, well, it sucks, but there are certain cases that are good, but the majority, they don't make it to being precedent setting. And of course, within your client's best interest, if they decide to settle or if it settles out of court and then those records are sealed, you have to act within your client's best interest rather than forging on to try to make case law, So it's quite challenging that way too for attorneys. So, yeah.
And if a carrier is trying to get a decision case law that's in their favor, they're going to try to find a client that ends up with an attorney that isn't necessarily a first-party property attorney as their main job. They might be dealing with a client that has a personal injury attorney trying to dabble. And that's perfect for them, because they're going to end up being able to just sweep the floor with this guy. And even if it ends up getting, an appeal, the chances of their success are much greater, and they have a lot of claims to look at to determine what the best case is. Trying to find the right case on our end is difficult as it is, but we don't have nearly the amount of cases to work with to try to figure out if that's the right case or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's an uphill battle from both ends, and it can really just.
Yeah. And that's where, again, that mitigation and recovery for your mind and your emotions and your body come in. But as far as what's that? I'm not really into Greek stuff. It's not my thing, but is it Sisyphus that's always pushing the rock up the hill and it keeps coming down? It's one of them. Because Greeks are weird. They always have some crazy stories. But there's a guy that's pushing a rock up a hill, and as soon as he gets to the top, it goes back down again. And he has to do this for eternity, apparently.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So depressing, the Greeks. Anyways, not the modern day ones, the ancient. It can be challenging not to get into that mindset, but that's then where your morals and your principles come into play. I've always been very much of an existential thinker. At 7 years old, I was like, I'm going to find the meaning of life. That's just how I am. Thank goodness I'm not a nihilist. I'm also very optimistic. So it works out well. So
I tried to figure out how to trap light.
So
it didn't work.
Keeping that in mind, once you find your purpose in life, having a higher purpose of some sort, keeping that in mind for the greater good, whatever it is for you, keeping that in mind rather than what you think the goal should be. What we're enjoying now as far as freedoms, just in general, as people, we are no longer in a feudal system where we have, a lord and a manor, and we're not, serfs, farming the land any longer. We have some free agency. And in order for that to happen, there were many thousands of human beings that toiled and endeavored and never got to see the fruits of that. So if you can think of your endeavors and everything that you do within your work and within your personal life as something building towards something greater, that really is going to propel you a lot more than thinking of self or thinking of just one goal that needs to be done, if that makes sense.
I don't think I can have you on the show anymore, Sarah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, everyone.
Yeah, no kidding. There's, I think that this is the last time you're ever going to be on. You got me so wrapped up in my head, I can't even.
Don't do that
here.
Oh Jesus. My God! I told you, I'm an existential thinker. I can't help it. Everything I do,
look how deep all of this shit is. Isn't it deep? Think about how deep it is.
But like I said, thankfully, I'm naturally an optimistic person. Like, I'm naturally the person that wakes up and I'm like, sweet, I woke up today. This is gonna be awesome. That's me.
Is that really what you think? Sweet, I woke up. I'm usually thinking, excited, son of a bitch, turn that noise off. I go straight to work.
Yeah. When I wake up. I have to use a Pomodoro timer now so I don't work too much and not eat. But yeah, I love working. I love getting up. Yeah.
Oh, what now?
Pomodoro timer. All right, everyone. So now we're switching gears into,
product
managing your workday.
What is what now?
A Pomodoro timer. So as far as managing your work hours and helping yourself be productive, there's many methods that people have been trying, or have figured out as far as productivity. And then everyone's brains work differently as well. At one point I was always the person, and I really enjoyed working for 4 hours straight, taking a little break and just hustle culture. That was really helpful. And I could just break things off on a list, get it all done. It's changed for me. Now I really like deep work with breaks. And so I use a Pomodoro technique, which is where you set a timer for about 25 minutes or so, take a 5-minute break where you completely step away, get some water, stretch a little bit, come back, deep work, and you just do one task at a time. And then you have time set aside. Time blocking is another method that I really enjoy for managing my day. So now I've recently switched to, for meeting with colleagues and doing my volunteering, it's Tuesdays only. And that's actually worked really great for my colleagues because they can just book on my calendar and meet with me and I'll be there. Certain days and times, we've always had mortgage Mondays, my firm handles the mortgage endorsement process for our clients. And so we've always had mortgage Mondays, and just blocking off your time for certain things to really know that you're going to fully be invested in that particular thing for just this amount of time. Lots of different techniques out there. I encourage people to look into that. That can really help with that compassion fatigue and fatigue in general. So
I prefer to use the monkey technique.
I don't know if I want to know what that is.
There's a monkey in my head, and it is going to say, hey, look at that. I should do that right now. Hey,
oh, that's
I want to do that right now. And I just let that monkey control me.
Yeah, no, you got to get
it. And it just moves my day along. I may get things done. I may not. I don't know. It's surprising to me. We're going to find out. But we go down some interesting paths.
Yes. And part of that too, I've really discovered is a lot of people are like, oh, I've got ADD, I've got ADHD. Maybe, maybe not. We have so much information that we're bombarded with every day. Our minds are, with the digital age, with having these bricks with us all the time. We are absolutely bombarded with information, and it really kills our focus. It really, really
It's true.
does.
There's not a thing that kills my focus more than my phone vibrating.
Oh, what's that?
I cannot handle it. Even if I like, no, and I keep moving, but then my phone over there is still vibrating. No, no. And it's still vibrating. I can't handle it. I cannot do it. I can't.
So I really encourage you after work, turn off your damn phone. You leave it alone. Don't touch it. Read a book. I've been reading books again. That's been so nice. So nice.
Do you think it qualifies to listen to an audiobook? Would you call that reading?
I mean, it wouldn't be reading, but it would certainly be productive and calming.
If you listen to somebody read something, are you reading it with them?
Just like lay down and do like some progressive relaxation while you're listening to the audiobook, or just sit and do nothing while you're listening to that audiobook would probably be the most productive. But if you're doing that and then like doing 50 other things and still on your computer, it's not good for your brain.
Well, you're not going to pay attention anyway. Jessica Adele says the monkey technique has been working for her for up until now.
It'll wear you out, though.
It totally works.
It can wear you out.
It keeps life interesting. You don't know what you're going to end up in. I've attempted so many ways. It's so deep.
It was great. Great info.
Yeah.
Hey, I only get you for like 4 minutes and 30 more seconds. So, I'll make this I just need like a 30-second answer to this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, historical building, right? It's 150 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Complete loss, but the value of the property, well, let's just say the face value of the policy for the dwelling or the property was $250,000. 150 years old, they want to depreciate it 90%. That policy holder's only getting a check. I'm not even applying a deductible. They're getting a check for $25,000. We all know that they're not going to go back with the same structure. It's impossible, right? It's 150 years old. All these materials are there. What do you do? Because, the bricks that were there, nominal pricing, didn't have economic value, so to speak. So what do you do in 30 seconds?
Hit limits.
Hit the limits.
Hit limits, and then if it's an RCV policy, ask for a special draw on the depreciation to start repairs for a down payment.
Everybody needs to listen to that. I'm telling you, if you're in this industry,
if you ask, you will receive. There's some crazy stuff that carriers can do, and mortgage companies. Say, is there anything we can do about that for the client to help them get stuff going, get a special draw?
You just made people money out there. I love it. Good job, Sarah. That's all I want to throw out there when I saw historic, because we're trying to do some stuff in Georgia with some bills, and it's a lot of people involved in this. And
it's not going to be very hard to hit limits if you have a true historic structure.
There you go.
Even with functional replacement costs, often you'll hit that fast.
I love it.
Co-insurance, though, that's nasty. That's a whole nother. That's going to be a whole other discussion. Yeah.
Things were built with better materials back in the day. As anybody's grandparents would tell you, that we did things way better when we were.
And old growth wood, we can't even get old growth wood anymore. Well, that's why they're doing all the reclaiming. With the old barns and things, you can't get that quality of wood.
Well, we haven't gone taking trees down in Antarctica yet. So once that starts happening, we'll be fine.
Trees in Antarctica.
Hey, Sarah, are you good with after you drop your article on Monday that we circle back around at some point?
Oh, yeah.
And just talk about it, because I'm sure you get all kinds of feedback and ideas from everybody. And
I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm hoping will happen.
This will be everybody's expression after reading that.
It'd be like
this is only for those that are watching this and not listening to the program. I'm gobsmacked. That's
he's known about this article for like a couple of months now, and he's still just like, man, so much.
Oh my God. No, I felt
I'll help
so
you through it.
much
Don't worry.
of what you're writing, and anybody that's been doing this for any period of time that's helped people and that have just been screwed over and over again.
And don't forget the carrier employees are suffering just as much, if not more. Have compassion and love for them too. The adjuster you're talking to, even the ladder now person that's coming up, the Mad Sky contractor, have love and compassion for them too, because they're probably under more moral conflict and stress than you are.
I've had calls from adjusters that are the adjuster on the claim I'm working on. They tell me, this is off the record. I need you to do this and this and this because I need to take care of this customer, but my hands are tied. Help me fix this. And they're counting on us to do something that's very, very difficult to be able to help somebody because they can't, because their management isn't letting them.
And that's why, as a good, effective public adjuster, you are doing more work than you should be doing. You have to. If you want to be effective for your client, you're essentially writing the file, you're writing the approval, you're basically writing what that adjuster, if they don't have authority, is sending up to their manager. You have to have that knowledge, care, and compassion that get them what they need, even if they can't approve it. And if you maintain rapport, they will let you know that they can't approve it, and you can appropriately escalate. It's not personal. Don't be mean to adjusters.
No.
Have care and compassion.
The vast majority of them are trying really, really hard to do the right thing. And
Absolutely.
they believe that they're good people. Nobody believes that they're wrong. Nobody believes that they're evil, right? Everybody believes they're the good guy. And they're doing everything they can. They understand that their intent is to help somebody. Regardless of their intent, they understand that they have limitations. So even though they're hitting these limitations and they have to say no, they feel better about it because they know that their intent inside is to do as much as they possibly can. And that is so difficult to work with sometimes. But if you understand that the other side, the opposing side is trying very, very hard, and they need your help to get it past their management or whatever it might be,
Yeah. And then I love this space in general, especially when I'm dealing with HOA boards, townhome association boards. We have all of the residents are like, what's going on with my claim? The board is, that's kind of my specialty with client management in general. Is we even have support materials for your loss of external support that you can go to, if you have a fire loss, all kinds of things. We have definitions, glossaries. We're going to have an app soon for our clients where they can go in and get resources for things. So really building out your client experience to be a supportive element can be really helpful. All of my Minnesota people are here today. I feel so loved. Thank you guys. Love you guys.
Who's Minnesota in here?
Almost everybody that's commented. So I know there's more watching too.
I know I saw Christian.
Appreciate the support.
Christian Charlin.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, it's him when you suddenly feel your ass get grabbed.
Yeah. I pride myself
that
on
hasn't happened to me.
Associations and boards and HOA, like HOAs being my bread and butter. For some reason, I like dealing with the 5-headed monster. I don't know why, but I love doing it. And that's just, if a case comes in and it's an association, it's like, that's mine. Like
it's that puzzle.
Yeah.
That's how your brain, I see it. It's that puzzle. It's just like, I like the coverage puzzle. You like the people puzzle. You're like, how can I coordinate? We are coordinating chaos here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we get compassion fatigue. But that's also what we're too. So that's why we love this work.
Chaos coordinator is something that my wife puts on her resume as a stay-at-home mom. Maybe stay-at-home moms should be public adjusters.
Wow, actually, we might be onto something.
I might be onto something.
Not gonna lie.
Be fantastic at it. She doesn't realize it, but
I'm actually gonna think about that. That's interesting.
You should. I'm thinking about a lot of things you said. I'm even thinking about it.
Interesting.
About
that.
Hey, if Sarah opens us up, she's gotta close us off here with the
right.
with the voice here. And hey, today was awesome. It was information that everybody needs to know and hear. And I don't know. I loved it. It was a great conversation. We kumbaya, and I love it.
Did we kumbaya?
We kumbaya.
I don't remember.
Awesome. Well, I really look forward to picking this up again with you guys. This has been wonderful. It's like a fireside talk. Totally.
You're not coming back on the show. It was way too deep. That's it. That was your one chance. I think that my audience can handle
feel
it.
Feelings.
I felt stuff. It was
character
feelings.
development. Care and compassion.
I need to have another beer.
Oh man.
Way too many claims that popped into my head during this one that I forgot about. I actually forgot about claims, and they came back to me. I'm like, oh God, mother.
That's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to work that out. We'll get you some resources, Matt.
Yeah, I need help. All right,
hurting
Sarah.
Cats, yes.
Thank you. I'm going to kick you off of the screen, but you can stay in the wings for a second, okay?
Absolutely.
Punt. That was Sarah Parker. She has a lot to say.
Fantastic. She's very intelligent. She knows what she's talking about. You can tell she's passionate. I bet she does. What's the saying? You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. I bet she just gets those adjusters just to say, you know what? You're right, Sarah. And boom.
Right. She's got them wrapped around her fingers. She's like, no doubt about it.
Hey, I really do look forward to having her on after she drops that, the blog on Monday. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll
be good. It'll be good. And if you're interested in working with her on with the United Policyholder stuff, she does a lot of stuff through there. Check that out. That is an organization that is very good. The APA she mentioned.
Her website, Matt, her website is bpEMU.com as well. So
I'm going to post it back up again. bpEMU.com. You can look at her blog at bpEMU.com/blog. I'll post her cell phone number in a minute too, so you can bother the crap out of her in the middle of the night. It'll be great. She's hoping I don't do that, probably.
Absolutely.
All right. So next week we are not going to have a podcast. So next Tuesday you don't get to see our pretty faces. If that bothers you, just watch an old episode. That's fine. We're not going to judge you if that's what you do. I think that's okay. What do you think, Remington? Is that okay?
That's fine.
I think it's fine.
Whatever makes you get through the day on a Tuesday afternoon.
Whatever. I think that what we provide can be watched multiple times. I'm that arrogant about our products, so I think it'll be fun. The Tuesday after that, we will be back, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 2 Tuesdays from now, and we can't wait to see you then. So strike a pose, Remington.